the way you've looked at the 12-step program. You've kind of incorporated a little more neuroscience in that. Maybe you could discuss that with us as well. Just enlighten us on how to really look at that a little clearer.
Well, the 12 steps were written 85 years ago, more than 85 years ago, and there's no neuroscience in that. And plus, I don't like people identifying I am an alcoholic. I do high performance coaching, and you would never identify with I'm a failure. I am a father. I am a doctor. I am elite at whatever I do. If you think of attorneys or you think of police officers or firefighters, they're people that are often elite. And so thinking about who you really want to be is so much more important than focusing on your failures. I'm coaching an Olympic athlete who's a pole vaulter. And could you imagine if every time she jumped, she said, I'm a failure? It's not going to work out very well. And none of the 12 steps had anything to do with neuroscience. And what we see with a lot of substance abusers is their brains are damaged. In fact, if you had a head injury, you have a dramatically higher risk of struggling with alcohol or drug abuse. And so looking at assessing, evaluating, getting your brain right is critical. And step one in the 12-step program is my life is out of control. And I'm like, no, that's not step one. That's step two. Step one is what do you want? As we talked about, what do you want in your relationships, your work, your money, your physical, emotional, spiritual health. And if you're being arrested, clearly that's not what you want because of your behavior. If your spouse is leaving you, well, it's not what you want. And so it's much easier to answer, my life is out of control when you've done step one, which is what do I want? Then step two is my behavior getting me what I want. And I always think of the definition of addiction is if you engage in a behavior or you drink and it gets you into trouble, either with your relationships, your health, the law, your work, money, and you do it again, that's a problem because it's like your brain doesn't learn. There is not significant long-term value in your behavior. And remember, whatever you do, whatever you allow your brain to do, it's going to do again. And so we have to be careful. I adopted my two nieces because their parents couldn't stop struggling with addiction and they couldn't stop being bad parents. And so 2.5 years, we adopted them. And when my then 16-year-old niece started vaping and I found out, I grounded her like 6 months. I'm like, you have a choice, right? You're here by choice. And if we're not aligned, I'm not doing it. And it was the best thing I did, which is supervision. Parents have to be their children's frontal lobes until theirs develop. And her modeling was awful. And it worked out really well. I mean, I know that strategy wouldn't always work out, but it worked out really well. And she's going to graduate with 4.0. And I'm so proud of her.
4.0.
But you need to be your children's frontal lobes until theirs develop. And there needs to be alignment. But if you never really ask yourself what you want, how do you know if you're aligned or not?